anti-racism. The three that I'm particularly interested in are collaboration and partnership. What does it mean to sort of work collaboratively, to be a partner, not just an individual partner with the person who's standing behind, before you, but how do you work collaboratively as a partner organization, engaged in joint effort to combat all forms of injustice, including the one that brings you all here this week? Learning. Education is my background, and I will say that learning and development are two very different phenomena, two very different things. Learning being sort of in some ways the acquisition of information that manifests itself through different practice, and development having to do with sort of growing over time and becoming a different person through things like experiences. So I think that's relatively important. I'm going to try and bring some attention to that this morning. And then lastly, diversity, inclusion, and anti-racism. And let me say that those are very powerful words. They are really centrally situated in my professional life, in my work, in my identity. But I will also say about the term inclusion is that it can really feel like a slippery slope. In a lot of ways, inclusion just means how do you get somebody from the margins into the center without necessarily changing the center aside from adding new people. And inclusion cannot be the goal, because inclusion still maintains a status quo of central identity and behavior and practice. And so I'm going to try and disrupt some of that today, just to invite you to think with me about what does it mean to develop and integrate and embed a racial lens in your efforts to eliminate the war on drugs. Now, I have to say, because I think it's important for me to point this out. Yesterday when Betty, who's your executive director, who I think is a really fascinating person, when she was giving her opening comment, when Betty was giving her opening comments yesterday, one of the things she said is, you should know who your people are. And so that to me was an invitation to think. In this room, faces I've never seen before. I needed to think about, and still do, in the context of SSDP and the 2019 conference, who am I with people with whom I connect? And whose people am I? And from my perspective, this discussion about joining and working together and belonging, and doing that in a way that's intended to change systemic injustices, does require some deep thinking about who do we belong to, and what does it mean to belong, and how do we demonstrate that to our practices. Now, I don't know if you all remember, but yesterday during the panel discussion, one of the things that Chili said was, there's a quote on the Just Leadership USA website. You may remember this. And the statement is, those who are